Good evening, everybody. We are live. Got here like a minute late, but we are absolutely live. We're actually going to go on the run here. I got to go grab my drink because I don't have my drink with me. So we're going to be moving here for just a second, trying to get all of my pieces here in the dark. Got my drink. I might need to also get a few other things connected here. We are live but disheveled tonight. So fill everybody in here. But we are live. Sorry, moving around. Camera's going crazy. Gonna get everything settled in. I just went vertical live stream last minute here because yeah, a quick little house tour. How's it going, Eli? So sorry for being a minute late here. We ended up doing so today was our family funcation day. So we took just an entire day. We didn't go anywhere. It's kind of like the staycation, but we just took an entire day for just a full family day. So we got up early than we normally do, and we went to the beach this morning. Got to the beach about 9 o'clock, which is really nice because there's still some shade and there's not a lot of people there because most people don't start showing up till about 10:30 or so, something like that. So we had a good chunk of the beach to ourselves. So I got a little bit of sun, not too much. I wore a hat, so I always wear a hat at the beach. Um, Shoulders got some sun and stuff like that. Then came home, relaxed for a little bit, and then we dressed up all nice and pretty, and we went out for just a nice sit-down family dinner. We do not go out to eat much at all, but we like to at least once or twice a year. Hey, you're in Louisiana today, so you're down in the sweaty south sweaty area. So, is it really bad and humid? It's been a couple years, probably been 4 or 5 years since I've been in Louisiana. Never really spent any time there other than just stopping for food or a hotel on trips to and from like Florida to Texas. We did some trips over that way. Anyway, we did a really, no, not too bad. Okay, not too bad. Nice. Um, yes, we did a nice kind of seafood dinner out as a family, and then we came back and played chess with my kids for a little bit. And so anyway, the last chess game went a little bit long, and everybody was kind of moving slow because they were getting tired. So just like it was like pulling teeth to get everybody to actually go to bed because they were so tired. I don't know if you've ever dealt with that with kids, but that's kind of what it was at the end. But we got everybody down and got here. So we are live. We're going to talk all things like beginner tips food delivery tonight. So we're going to talk all about just like if you've never done food delivery or if you're just starting food delivery, just some basic things. The gig delivery world changes so fast, and all these different ones, everyone's competing for market share, and for market share, they're all competing to keep their prices as low as possible. And then, of course, that means for you as a food delivery gig delivery worker, you're the one that gets squeezed on the pay. And so they try to push off their payment to you in these food delivery apps by saying, oh, well, we're just going to rely on customers to tip. And that is what makes food delivery increasingly difficult, because it used to be this even before I started food delivery, but I've heard the stories that it was pretty standard, $5 base pay on most food delivery and plus tips. And that's not a bad deal. If you're starting with $5 and you can get 4 deliveries in an hour. Hey, Cat and Jack, how did kayaking go today? Welcome. So, so it's really difficult with food delivery now that you are 70% of your income is customer tips, or should be coming from customer tips, because base pay is so low on these apps. It rained. That's not good. We had a sunny day for our beach day today. So, did you still go even in the rain? Maybe that's kind of fun. I don't know. I remember doing some canoe trips when I was younger in the rain, and I always thought that was kind of fun. and hiking trips in the rain. Like, it's gross, but it's still kind of like builds good memories. So I don't know. I've never really tried serious kayaking. I've been in some like fake kayaks that are just, that was like a long, long time ago though. So you were in Galveston yesterday. So I've spent a fair amount of time in Austin for some conferences and stuff like that over the years, but it's been quite a few years. So um, yeah, so I like Austin, and then what's the Waco's a little bit north of there. So my wife is a big fan of Chip and Joanna Gaines. So we've done Chip and Joanna Land is what we call it. I don't know, whatever, Magnolia, whatever, something like that. So, but it's been a while. It's been a while since I've been over the Texas way. So, but I want to get traveling more, but I haven't been. So, talking food delivery, gig delivery work, but I mean specifically DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Instacart, those four specifically because they're the ones I'm most familiar with. And I want to just give some basic tips if you are in food delivery or you want to get started with food delivery. Um, the whole goal here, and I know there's two camps, right? So there's two camps in the food delivery world. One camp is um, I'm going to set up and I'm going to be a great food delivery driver. I'm going to make it be my full-time income. I think it's doable, right? I think it's still doable to get your full-time income, especially if you don't have a lot of debt and you just have basic bills to pay, especially if you're single or you have no kids, like young married couple, single. I think you could probably pull it off. I mean, if you live in a cheap enough area of the country, I think it's reasonable if you put the work in to be able to do full time and get 1,000 to 13, 12, 1,200, 1,300 a week. So I think it's doable. Okay. But um, my biggest issue with food delivery, I have multiple issues with it as it being a primary income stream. One is it is so customer tip dependent. And if you're not getting customer tips, you're going to destroy your car in the process of just taking bad orders to do things. But my biggest issue with it, which I repeat on this channel um, time and again, is there is an absolute cap to how much you can make. Now, that's going to vary by market, but there are not videos out there of people, YouTube creators, who are going for clicks. Like, what's the big challenges, right? It's like $700 in one day, $800 in one day, and that's in a full 24-hour. Those challenges, like, okay, there are plenty of jobs out there that if you work your way up the ladder, you can easily get to making 800, 900, $1,000 in just a 12-hour day's worth of work or an 8-hour day's worth of work. And so if the best we can do is be putting together $700 or $800 24 hours as full-time gig delivery drivers in good markets, that's a major problem to me with these gig delivery apps as being your primary full-time source of income. Because all the other things that we've talked about this week, there's really no cap on. Even if there's a stronger learning curve and it might take you a while, there's no cap to eBay. eBay doesn't say, hey, you sold $800 worth of stuff today. You can't sell anything more. You can't make any more money. Amazon FBA certainly doesn't do that. And even if you wanted to be really aggressive by looking up free things and you had enough storage, Facebook Marketplace doesn't cap you on how much you can make in a day. But these apps will cap you, and I am fairly certain they will. And I did this. This was a video I did a couple of weeks ago, maybe even before we moved to night streams, or one of my first night streams that we did. One of my conspiracy theories is that these apps will absolutely just throttle your earnings once you get a couple of big orders on any given day. And that is why all these challenges that you see of people going for 600, 700, 800 a day, it's never with one app, because no app would ever, I just don't believe any of these apps would ever give you that much. Okay. So I'm not telling you not to do food delivery. I'm doing food delivery right now. But what I'm telling you is that you need to get realistic that even if you absolutely master your market, you're probably capping off in the best markets in the country for full 12-hour days. I'm not talking for a supper shift for 3 hours. Okay, that's completely different. You can have a really good supper shift and make, $200 in 3 hours every once in a while if you just catch things just right. But I'm saying 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, or whatever you need, you're maxing out at 25 to 30 an hour in most of the best markets based on all the research that I've done and the videos that I've seen. It's just, there is a cap, and you need to be real with yourself that if there's a cap, and if these apps will drop you at a moment's notice because of one negative report from somebody or some competitor or some person you delivered to, you've got it. You just have to do a reality check. Like, yes, it's true. Can you get banned off of eBay or Amazon? Of course you can. Can you get your Facebook Marketplace shut down? Of course you can. But most of the times, those bans come from just absolutely poor decision making. It has so much more to do with just one person complains that you delivered a rotten banana, and all of a sudden, or different things. I mean, I've had issues with DoorDash over the last couple of weeks where DoorDash's GPS is wrong, and I'm 20 minutes away when they think I'm 1 minute away, and then I get a contract violation for being late because their GPS is wrong. Now, I've gotten it removed, but it's ridiculous to me that that would even be a thing. Like, your app is so dependent on time-based, and your GPS doesn't even work right. And the situation is, if you shut off DoorDash, at least for my app, if I shut off DoorDash, but I don't fully close the app and then I turn it back on, it thinks I am where I last was when the app was on previously. It doesn't adjust. Like, you have something that you're all about speed and delivery, and you can't even have a semi-functional GPS system that refreshes when someone turns on the app fresh. And so they're just very real things, and there's a very real cap. Now, I still absolutely believe that there is a great place for food delivery. Okay. All right. Hey, Eli, thanks for tuning in. Have fun. Enjoy watching. Enjoy your time. Say hi to your girlfriend for us. Dune 2. Yes. Enjoy the movie. So, you gotta be realistic that there's a cap. Now, with that in mind, how do we maximize our food delivery? Okay, because I'm not I don't want to be all negative. I just from the business sense, there's a cap on food delivery. $25 an hour is our channel goal. Some shifts I hit it, some shifts I don't. 28 to 30 is probably where you're going to max out most of the time if you're using apps like these. Now, if you can get onto some of the catering apps, and maybe you can turn things better. But again, I think a lot of that is just kind of temporary, and they're going to get oversaturated with drivers. And it just depends on how much you want to keep hopping from app to app to app. It's 100% depends on what's your market availability. Like, I've been trying to get on Amazon. What is it? Not Walmart. There's Walmart Spark, and there's Amazon Flex, right? Like, I've been on the wait list for Amazon Flex for well over a year. So it's like, people are like, well, get on other apps. Well, sometimes you can't. And again, these are other things that you're not going to run to. eBay is not going to say, no, you can't sell on platform, but you're subject somewhat to just what your availability is. I had to wait for Grubhub for months and months and months. So how are you going to maximize it? So here's the thing. You have to go in knowing and understanding that the best way to get to $25 to $30 an hour on food delivery apps is tips. Okay. You need to know this, and you need to understand this, because pretty much every strategy that I'm going to talk about tonight is revolving around maximizing tips. Okay. So what does that mean? Okay. So Instacart's kind of a separate thing to me in this. So maybe we'll cover Instacart separately here in a little bit, but let's just start with DoorDash, Grubhub, UberEats, kind of your basic restaurant delivery apps. So what is step one? Step one is you need to set up near restaurants that people generally tip better at, and ideally around neighborhoods where your better tippers tend to come from. So that way, because the ideal you want is, 10, 15, $20 for 5, 4, 3, 2 miles, right? You want high dollar for low mile. And so what you want to do is you want to find these high-end restaurants that tend to have short deliveries, okay, and also have higher tipping customers. Here's the general principle that I would say. If you're trying to figure out, should I set up at this restaurant? Would it cost a family of four at least $50 to eat there? Okay. Would it cost a family of four at least $50 to eat there? So to me, that means you don't set up at McDonald's, you don't set up at Burger King, you probably don't even set up at most pizza places unless they're like super high end, right? You're not probably not setting up at a Papa John's if you're trying to maximize tips, if you're trying to maximize your delivery income. So where I look to set up is places like we have a couple of strips of super high end restaurants. Some of them are kind of like chains, but they're still very high end, like True Food Kitchen, California Pizza Kitchen. Again, like that's a pizza place, but it's like a higher end sort of thing. We have Cafe Milano, we have sushi places, La Trattoria. So we have these super high end places, and sometimes I'll sit there, but those don't do as well in our off season. But around year round, I'm looking for places like Carrabba's. I'm looking for places like Cheesecake Factory. I'm looking for um, Outback Steakhouse, PF Chang's, right? I'm looking for restaurants where if a family of four is going to order, there's probably going to be it's probably going to be $50, and it's probably going to be doing that. So DA, I'll talk about taxes here in a little bit, okay? Um, and so there's a couple ways that you can do it depending on where you are at. I'm not a tax expert, but I'll get to your question in a few minutes. So thank you. And if you guys have any other questions regarding food delivery or anything about it, post all the questions down below. I'm going to kind of share my opening thoughts, and I will get to answering all of your questions before we end the stream here. So please post them, and if you can't stay the whole time, make sure you rewatch it when it reposts later tonight or tomorrow morning. But we'll get to all your questions in a little bit. So thank you so much. Um, so here's what I said. You need to set up in these places, and ideally you want to set up around restaurants where there's multiple ones kind of spread out so you can kind of really center in a small group. Now, you're still going to get orders from bad places, but for example, one of my better areas, I have a Carrabba's, I have a Outback, but it's also kind of sandwiched in with a McDonald's and a Starbucks, and there's also a Fresh Market, which is like a higher end grocery store. Okay, so I'll often set up around there for supper time. Now, occasionally I'll get a McDonald's, but here's the thing. Almost all those McDonald's orders are relatively short because there's so many McDonald's spread out, right? So most of the time, if someone's ordering from that McDonald's, they're living within 2 to 3 miles. So they're generally going to be quick deliveries. And because that McDonald's is still in a higher tipping zone, occasionally I'll be delivering McDonald's to a multi-million-dollar home that still has a decent tip on it. Okay. So when people talk about McDonald's is bad, that's not really what they mean. What they mean is the McDonald's in my market is bad, or the Taco Bell in my market is bad. But there might be one or two McDonald's if you're in a large enough town that are in a higher end suburban, really nice house area of town where people who just tip, they just tip 20% no matter what. And, just because they're ordering McDonald's doesn't mean they're not going to tip well. Um, so occasionally I get those McDonald's and I get those Starbucks, but usually they're relatively quick deliveries. They're relatively close to where I'm at. And then I'm set up right again to get the next Outback or Carrabba's or Fresh Market if I'm doing Instacart, or sometimes Fresh Market comes through on DoorDash or whatever, right? So you want to look for opportunities that you have to kind of centralize on all of those things. Now, also, I would say this. I am a proponent of measured communication with customers. Okay, I believe one of the biggest reasons a lot of people don't tip is because they don't think of you on the other side doing the job as a real human being. I gotta plug in my phone here really quick. So might shake for a second, but I'm draining battery quick here. Okay, so I am a firm believer, especially on Instacart, but on all the apps, whenever possible, to do short, simple forms of communication, because what you want to do is you want to remind the person on the other side that there's a real human being working a real job trying to earn real money on the other side. And so sometimes it doesn't make any sense. And so I don't force communication if there's nothing. But if there's any delay waiting at the restaurant, I'll send a message. And I just have a simple message saved in notes. We shared this last night with Facebook Marketplace. I have an entire note filled with all the messages that I send on a regular basis for all these apps. And I'll just say something like this. And I'm trying to specifically point out details. So I'll say, I am waiting at the restaurant for you, but your order isn't ready yet. I'll let you know as soon as I'm on the way. So what am I trying to do? So one, what's one of the big fears that I'm alleviating? It's, is that driver even at the restaurant? You know, why am I not getting my order? He must be going around doing it. So I'm waiting at the restaurant for you. I'm easing the fear that I'm not actually doing my job, that I'm messing around or I'm doing that. Okay. I'm also reminding them that I'm providing a service for them. I'm waiting at the restaurant for you. Okay. And I'll let you know as soon as I'm on the way, and then I'll send that. Okay. And so what basically the goal here is you want to humanize yourself to the other person when it logically makes sense to do so. And I've stated this time and time again on this channel. Most of the times when I get increased tips on DoorDash, it is not because the order went off flawlessly. In fact, most of the time, it's because there was a problem with the order that I overcame for the customer. So it was a long wait. I remember on Christmas night, I actually took an order this year. And I actually had to run home. We were doing like some family Christmas stuff, but I had to run home and I'm like, okay, it's Christmas night. I'm just going to try to find one order to take that's going to take me back to where I needed to go. And it was like a Chinese food place because that was pretty much all that was open. And I got there and it was a catering order and I was on the catering program. And it's like, oh, at the time that meant it was over $100 order. And I just had to wait and wait and I ended up waiting like 40 minutes for this thing. And I was so torn. Like I wanted to cancel it, but I also didn't, I wasn't sure what to do. Anyway, I ended up waiting. I kept them involved in the process the entire time. I even sent them a picture of like, just so you know, there's about 15 drivers waiting around for orders right now. I mean, it was, it was a huge catastrophe from the restaurant side that like they didn't expect there to be orders being like one of the few restaurants open. It was crazy. Anyway, long story short, I finally did deliver it. And when I delivered it, they said, we just had to come out and meet you. We had to thank you so much. We appreciate you waiting. And then they gave me an extra $20 cash tip on Christmas night. But because I provided good customer service, I kept them in the loop. They knew everything that was going on. Okay. That's how you can maximize things. And it's also, as a side note, why of all the apps, I still think that Instacart probably has the highest ceiling in many markets, because you basically have the opportunity to interact with customers on a regular basis. I get increased tips more regularly on Instacart than any other app by far. So that's why I like that, because you have opportunities to go above and beyond what the other delivery drivers in your area do. And this is not to say that it's a pure competition. Like I want everyone to rise together, but there is the simple fact that 90% of the drivers in your area probably are providing poor to no customer service. Okay. You have to remember this. And I always encourage you, once every couple of months, you should order from these services as a research project, as part of knowing and understanding. And you will be amazed with some of the crazy things that are going to happen to your orders. You realize, like, oh my goodness, like, really? Like, you don't put your food in a hot bag. You don't put cold food on ice or in a cooler, different things. Now, on Sunday night, I shared in our experience that I did order from from Instacart, from both Publix and Costco, and I had two amazing delivery drivers. But I'm going to tell you that that's been the exception rather than the rule. The rule is they'll get 90% of the order right, you know, and there's always random questions like, how is that possible? And we have issues around here in our market that if you order water, we have drivers that'll just mark the water as not being available, even if it's clearly in the store, and they won't even take pictures to send to you like what water is it, because they just don't want to do it. It's like, you don't have to take the order. If you don't want to take orders with water in them, don't take orders with water in them, but don't lie, right? And so anyway, the point is, the bar for customer service is low, which is one of the reasons why tips in general are going down. Yes, there is tipping culture that people are sick and tired of tipping, but what they're sick and tired of is not so much tipping, I don't believe. I think they're sick and tired of tipping for people who are expecting tips and not providing any service whatsoever. And if you want to change that culture, and you can say all you want, well, like, I prefer these apps pay us more. Well, that's great, but that's not happening anytime soon. Okay. So in the meantime, if you're going to deliver, then you're trying to maximize tips. And how do you do it? You need to provide customer service at a standard level that is above 90% of people in your market. Whatever that is, you need to provide a level above all of that. And I think most of the time it's things like keeping people in the loop on their order and letting them know. And so if you don't want to be in a tip-based economy, don't do these gig delivery apps, okay? Unless you're maybe in like California or maybe New York where they have some guaranteed stuff. But in most places, there's no guaranteed. Okay, so don't do it. But if you're gonna do them, then you just need to up your game on your customer service. Okay, have a bunch of notes, and I like with Instacart, I take a picture of their food in a cooler, and I'll say, hey, your cold and meltable items are on ice in my cooler. I'm on my way to you, or they're on ice in my cooler and I'm on my way to you after one other drop off. Like, I just tell them, like, I know it says it in the app, but I'm clear with them, like, hey, guess what? Here it is. Here's a picture of your food on ice in a cooler. And you wouldn't believe how many times I've been told that's the first time I've ever had my food delivered in a cooler, which absolutely blows my mind, because you're supposed to have a cooler and be cold bag certified to even get frozen items. So the very fact is that people probably just take pictures of a cooler at their house and then they never actually use it. Hey, welcome back, Eli. I, I hope that's not a bad sign about the movie. And Tommy, thanks for tuning in. Yes, hit that like button if you haven't done so. I only see one like so far, so we definitely want to keep rolling those numbers and getting these things out. How's it going, Tommy Thunder? We had an awesome day. We had a family funcation day today. Oh, I see the likes going up. That's what I like to see. So we did a beach day today as a family, and then we went out to eat. We don't go out to eat often, but once or twice a year, we like to just do a really nice one. That's why I'm all dressed up. I mean, you can pretend I'm dressed up for you guys, but I'm really. Oh, she's tired. Yeah. That's my wife. She was so toast. She's like, just put the kids to bed. She's going to bed. She's usually like, but it was a long day, long fun day, but it was a long day. So the whole point is, if you're doing this food delivery thing, you're going to see your tips increase if you're providing customer service that goes above and beyond what most people in your market are doing. You need to center yourself around communities that are higher tipping and at restaurants where people tend to tip higher. So it's not so much about hacking the DoorDash algorithm or the UberEats algorithm. It's about putting yourself in the best position for things. Now, this is maybe just an observation. I can't prove this, but it really feels to me that in like the last couple of months, okay, that it really, really appears to me that these apps have really started geolocating a whole lot closer. Like, it used to be that you could be kind of close to a good restaurant and get it from, a couple miles away. And I'm finding if I'm not sitting in the parking lot of a lot of these restaurants, I just don't get it. Now, you'll get junk orders from other restaurants, but you don't get the best of the best orders unless you're sitting in a parking lot of some of these. So, yes, Tommy Thunder doing shout outs and call outs to everybody here. So, I'm glad you're enjoying the movie so far, Eli. So, the point is, you can dislike the game all you want, but if you're gonna play the delivery game, if you're gonna play the food delivery game, maximize it. I've got just a couple other general tips, and then I want to take any other of your questions, observations about food delivery. This channel was kind of born out of food delivery. Our first long form videos were all ride-alongs with food delivery, so it's kind of fun going back to the roots a little bit. But I would love to hear what your observations are on different things. This is my personal opinion. It's coming from my market, so I'm not telling you what to do. But this is here's my broad understanding of how everything, here's my broad theory of everything right now. Okay. First of all, this could absolutely change in a week or a month or 6 months. So if you're watching this on delay, that if you're watching this 6 months from when we're recording this in June, everything could be completely different. Okay. But here's my gut. If your market is full of Door Dashers, you need to be platinum. Because the ability to dash now anytime is so worth it. Okay. Um, I'm not saying that you're going to get better orders as platinum. I'm just saying that the ability to turn on DoorDash whenever you want is worth it. Okay. I'm still fairly convinced that rating matters very little for the quality of orders that you get on DoorDash. Now, I have not tested anything less than platinum, mainly because I don't know how I would ever get back to platinum in my market. There are just, when I look on, it is grayed out almost all the time. And so I just, I, I would recommend to you to figure out now, how do you do DoorDash Platinum? And this is kind of a little bit of an advanced strategy, but I've been now Platinum driver for almost 2 whole months. Okay, I got there about a week after. Okay, I got there about a week after Platinum rolled out in my market. I was in the middle of doing it. You think your stream is delayed, Eli? I don't know. So that comment just came through. I think my stream is delayed. So you can figure out how long that delay is from when you hear me say that. Um, here's how you do platinum, okay? And I think it's relatively simple. Once you get there, here's how you maintain it. Okay, keep your acceptance rate right around 75%. If it's any higher than that, you're taking way too many orders. If it's any lower than that, you're risking going below the 70%. If you have a couple orders that don't make it through your phone, you need to have that freedom. Okay, if your acceptance rate is 75% or higher, you can go on earn per offer, though I generally recommend only doing earn per offer during meal times. Okay, and then when it's not a meal time, then go on earn by time and take everything, or take everything except the ones that are just super far away and not close to anything else. Okay, and so by doing this, your earn by times throughout the day, your 2 o'clock, your 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you can still be multi-apping, running all your other apps. Okay, but by taking those earn by times throughout the day, that gets your total number up, keeps it over that 100, right? So, like, I haven't done much DoorDash over the last week and a half due to sickness and then car troubles. And so I'm going to be out like Friday, Saturday, Sunday here now and doing a lot of DoorDash. But I still have well over 100 deliveries in my last 30 days. Okay. So you don't ever want to get to the point where your total deliveries on Platinum are getting down to 105, 110. And the other thing is, we're talking about, Eli, today we're talking about beginner Q&A on food delivery, DoorDash, UberEats, Grubhub, and Instacart. So kind of Q&A for beginners and just some basic strategies with that. So we did kind of like 4 days in a row here. We did YouTube, and then we did eBay, and then Facebook Marketplace, and now gig delivery, food delivery work. Okay, so you can try refreshing the stream. You can also try playing it on 2 times speed. Sometimes that'll get you caught up a little bit. I know that works for me sometimes. Okay, but I think that's the pattern. And a couple other just general food delivery things. I feel like I'm kind of not as organized in my head as I should be tonight for you. Don't try. The Facebook Marketplace was last night. That was last night's stream. So um, anyway, just getting you caught up on that. So tonight is food delivery. So we did the full. Was it last night? Facebook Marketplace. I think it was last night. Anyway, don't try to be the top tier program in more than one or two apps. I try to be platinum for DoorDash and diamond for Instacart. I have to complete 10 more Instacart orders this weekend to be diamond for the next month, um, and or for the next 3 months or whatever. But I don't give a rip about Grubhub, Shipped. I've never even taken a shipped order. I have it. I've just never found a shipped order that seems good enough for me. Someday I'll do it for the channel's sake and to teach and to learn a little bit, but I'm just not interested in it. It's a super clunky platform, kind of like Grubhub, super clunky too. So I don't take much on it. Uber Eats, I just only take the good stuff. You're not going to be able to be top tier on all these different apps, especially since so many of them are total order completed based. A rolling 100 over the last 30 days, like it doesn't sound like much for a day, but if you miss a couple of days because of sickness or they send you trash orders for a couple of days, like it can be really hard to keep those numbers up. So definitely just do that. And so, by the way, like I knew I wasn't delivering today because it's family day and everything. I just scheduled out while I was platinum. I've scheduled out DoorDash for like the next 5 days. So even if I, for some reason, lose my platinum for a day or two in here, I will have all of my delivery time slots are scheduled. So I'll be able to get enough orders to get back over the 100 to re-unlock platinum, right? Because I saw that somebody was like, I don't know if they didn't understand how platinum worked, but I saw this in a Facebook group. They're like, I declined I declined 3 orders in a row and my acceptance rate went down to 69, and then like automatically I'm not Platinum Dasher. How is that fair? Like that's literally the whole point of Platinum Dasher. Like like and when people were celebrating it as like this is going to be so awesome, if your earnings went up after becoming a Platinum Dasher, I guarantee you were not cherry picking anywhere near as much as you should have been before Platinum Dasher was a thing. Okay? Because I can tell you my DoorDash earnings have gone down since Platinum Dasher. Absolutely. I'm doing a lot more Instacart to supplement things here now than I was before. And even Uber Eats and Grubhub, I end up doing more. There are like 2 nights ago, last night, I did a 2.5 hour shift, didn't take a single DoorDash. DoorDash is like, it's Platinum is not good. Okay. Platinum is not good. And if your earnings went up on Platinum, then you were just simply not cherry picking anywhere near enough. Because I don't know of anybody who was doing the $25 to $30 an hour who have said since Platinum's rolled out, I'm making significantly more. And it also seems like they're significantly tougher on kicking people off the app for all sorts of reasons, as there have been many gig tubers recently who have gotten deactivated off of DoorDash. Now, I think some of them want to, and it's very clickbaity to do it. And so it kind of helps the YouTube channel. And they know the DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, it's not the end game. If that's your end game, you're capping your potential income earnings. And I would just highly recommend you don't do that. So I'll take any other questions. So I know we have a tax question and some other things like that. But do that. What are you drinking tonight? I am still on the blue Gatorade kick. So I'm a little bit of sunburnt. I won't show it to you. It's mostly my shoulders. I don't want to get too risque for a YouTube live stream by showing my shoulders to all of you. Don't want to cause anybody to stumble out there. That's for sure. So, but I know I'm dehydrated. Drank a lot of water at supper and stole some of my kids' sweet tea. Hey, Dash and Womble, how's it going? So we're talking just beginner tips for food delivery. Hey, more blue Gatorade, Eli. So I know Dash and Womble, by the way, if you guys are looking for someone who does some live streams while delivering, Dash and Womble is a great follow. So definitely one of the channels that we follow on here. Still coffee, Cat and Jack, of course. Of course, still coffee. Hey, you need your coffee to go to sleep. So anyway, if you're looking for someone who is doing live ride-alongs with food delivery, since that's totally on theme tonight, Dashing Wombles, definitely a subscribe for you. So make sure to go check out the channel there. So definitely want to support things. So if you've got anything, Womble, if you've got any like beginner tips for someone who's like just wanting to start um, on food delivery stuff, that's in your market. Hey, Rideshare Lisa, welcome so much. Kind of got just a fun little hangout tonight. Definitely talked about setting up. You got where you set up, maximizing tips, okay, and providing customer service that goes above and beyond what the average customer service is in your market. That's kind of what we've talked about. So we had one question. I'm going to scroll back up here. So we've had some good conversation. So we had one from the 408 toe tagger. How do you do your taxes for DoorDash? Okay, so I'm not a tax expert. All right, and the normal disclaimer applies of consult a tax expert, to maximize all of your earnings and stuff. But I have been doing my own taxes for years as self-employed. So for my eBay business, for my Amazon business, and then when I started doing gig delivery stuff, I was able to do that. So a couple things. One, make sure you're tracking your miles. Okay. There's lots of different programs out there. I've been using Mile IQ for like 10 years for tracking my miles. So it's just it's a simple monthly subscription. It just tracks everything. It's always running in the background. And so you always want to make sure you're tracking your miles so you can have that write-off available to you. Now, you don't have to write off every mile if there's not an advantage for you to do that. But I'm also just a big believer in constantly lowering your tax burden. Okay, so you can set money aside. You can set a percentage aside, and there's all sorts of different numbers. And a lot of it depends on just your income stream and all those different things. But I'm just a big believer that you should be minimizing your tax burden by taking advantage of every sort of saving deduction thing that is available to you. And so it's okay that that your net earnings are lower than what your actual earnings are if you've done all your deductions properly and doing things. So for some of you, the standard mileage deduction is the way to go. For others of you, you may actually want to set it up where you're writing off the actual expenses. Now, again, I'm not the tax expert that tells you which way you should do it, but you've just got to consider the total repair work that goes into your car, the total of the gas that you pay. Like there's definitely reasons to consider both. And I have done both on different vehicles depending on what my needs were in any given year. And so you just need to kind of consider and know and understand that. Should you set some aside? Absolutely. All right, Eli's putting a challenge out there to get to 8 likes today. So if you haven't yet liked the stream, I would love it if you would do that. We also get some likes kind of in the follow-up days too. But let's see if we can get up to 8 tonight by smashing that like button. Rideshare kind of commenting on that. My money goes into a high-yield savings account throughout the year, so I pay the savings account is drawing interest. Yeah, so right. So that there are ways that you can do that. You can also, I think sometimes people kind of overestimate the tax burden thing. I think you should minimize your deductions, or not minimize your deductions. You should minimize your withholdings as much as you possibly can. So if you also work a W-2 job, if you're getting tax refunds regularly, it means you're overpaying your taxes during the rest of your year. Okay? I'm not, again, not as tax advice, but just in general. The general principle is if you're constantly getting tax refunds, it most likely means that you're giving too much money to the IRS before you have to. Like, you don't want to underpay and have to pay penalties, but you also shouldn't be overpaying significantly. If you're getting a check for $5,000 to $10,000 from the IRS every year, that means you gave them a $5,000 to $10,000 loan interest free. Why are you giving interest-free loans to the IRS? They don't need that. Okay, maybe they do need it, but they don't need yours. They don't need you to do that. Okay, so you need to find ways to do write-offs. One of the things I always recommend is making sure you're following all the tax rules, but at the end of like near December, buy some of your upgrades. Like get yourself like a lot of people are like, well, why would I put money into a pizza bag? You realize your pizza bag is free, right? Tax wise, because whatever you pay for your pizza bag that makes you a better customer service delivery person, that's a tax write-off. It's gonna so it's free, right? It's for tax purposes, it's free, and it's probably gonna get you more tips in the long run, which is gonna help for that. So should you set some aside? Probably depends on your exact income situation. Depends on if it's sole. But if you have a W-2 job and this is just supplemental, I don't know. And if you're regularly getting tax refunds, I think the tax thing is just people just like to freak out about taxes. This is just my opinion in general. People like to freak out about taxes, and so um, I would say instead work on figuring out the best ways to start businesses where you can reinvest your income into something that will help you go. So if you're going to start and monetize a YouTube channel, then guess what? All the gear you buy for your YouTube channel then becomes tax write-offs. And so there's tons of ways that you're available to minimize your tax burden. And I just really would encourage you to think and do the research and learn those things. And don't just talk to your tax professional in March if you have your taxes done for you. Don't just talk to them in March or April when it's too late to do anything for the previous year, except maybe a Roth IRA. But you know what I'm saying. Instead, give them a call in like October or November and say, hey, I've made an extra, I'll just throw numbers, right? So let's say you're doing this part time. I made an extra $10,000 in gross in food delivery. I've been tracking my mileage, um, but I would love to get my tax burden down on this. So, what am I allowed to do? What would be some things that I could do to bring my tax burden on this additional 10,000? Because maybe it pushes you up to a next bracket or something and you're trying to avoid that. I don't know. But that's just a general. So, should you set some aside? Probably. Um, Probably depending on your income stream, but I also don't think you need to freak out about it. It's especially if it's not your only. If it's just a side hustle, it matters a whole lot less. Because if it's just a side hustle, then when you figure out what your tax bill is come April or March or February, whenever you do it, then just go out and deliver an extra, 10 or 20 hours and get an extra $400 or $500. Cover your tax burden with that year's money. I Most likely you're not making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on gig delivery work, which is again why I would just say that's the negative. That's the drawback to this being your primary income. But if you're making $10,000 a year and you want to cut that tax burden down, there's lots of ways to do it, and minimizing that tax burden. And again, just a side note, if you're constantly getting tax refunds every year because of what's being taken out of your paycheck for your W-2 job, odds are you're overpaying. And you got to figure out a way to stop overpaying and just keep more of that money for yourself. So, hey, it's all good. It's all good, Eli. Don't worry about it. Um, so, all right, Dashing Womble was just saying some beginner advice. Don't take the lowball offers. You don't have to take every offer. If it doesn't pay your way, then leave it be. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. I The only time I end up taking offers that are considered lowball offers is if it offers me a benefit beyond the offer itself. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of examples of the types of lowball offers that I might take in certain circumstances. So one is if I'm needing to just make deliveries on DoorDash to keep Platinum Dasher, I might just turn on Earn by Time, knowing I'm going to get maybe a handful of no tipping offers, but I'm getting the benefit of the ability to cherry pick other offers to dash whenever I want. Like there's a trade off there, right? I'm getting something. This is the other time, and sometimes you see this mentioned, but I think a lot of people don't really think about this, which is the end of the night. Okay, So let's say you're kind of toast. And so what I like to do is when I'm toast, I turn off DoorDash, but I'll still leave on the other apps with the hopes that I can catch an order on Uber or Grubhub or even occasionally Instacart that's going to take me towards home with miles I have to drive anyway, right? So if I'm 5 miles away and I can pick up, uh, well, 5 miles is a little, that would be a little rough. Let's say I am 10 miles away from home, okay? And Uber sends me an $8 for 10-mile order. I wouldn't normally take that. But if I'm dropping that order off kind of close to home anyway, then I'm going to take it because I have to drive those miles anyway. I'm allergic to taking anything below $5. Okay, I just don't take orders below $5. Period. Unless it's stacked with another order from the same restaurant going to the same customer, right? Like it's just they forgot to order some French fries, and well, then I'll take it because it's literally no extra time for me. But if it's just a straight up $4 or less order, I will not take it out of that's my principle, that's my stand. Anything under $5, I just don't take. Um, but the max length you would do for an order. Okay, so I my kids like to always ask this question. They're like, so we live in South Florida. They're like, would you take an order to Georgia for $400? I'm like, I don't know, how many miles is it to Georgia, right? They ask that. Like, would you do that? Or you see every once in a while if you're in see some of these like Uber groups, someone will be like it's like an $800 order like for Uber drive that goes like 600 miles. Like, would you take it or whatever? Um, the most that I generally have ever done, I think, is about 30 miles. Now, I say this because every zone is different. My DoorDash zone here in Southwest Florida is huge. It's about 30 miles north to south and at least 10 miles east to west. So my DoorDash zone covers 300 square miles. And I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy how far some of the orders can go. But, you know, I've also, what would I do a 30 mile order for? I'm probably looking for $40 to $50 for that type of order. Now with Instacart, like 40 to 50 sounds high for a lot of these apps, but Instacart it's not impossible. So I did one. So I live in Naples. For those of you, if you want to look it up on a map, you can just kind of get the general gist of things. Um, and if you go far east of here, but it's still in my zone, there's a little town called Ave Maria, and they have a pretty large Catholic college there. They kind of want to be known as the Notre Dame of the South, okay? But it's like you drive through the boonies, you drive through swampland to get there and everything like that. And it's about 30 miles away. But I've taken Instacart orders out there when they pay 60, 70, $80 because it's just worth it to me. Some people wouldn't take those, but it's like if I'm going to get $80 and it's going to be 30 miles there, 30 miles back, but usually on the way back I can catch at least something, so it's not truly a full 60 miles, and it is a pretty easy drive most of the time, and so I've done it. I prefer not to, but I would say 30 miles. I mean, but if you give me the right offer for the right miles, I mean, I was just thinking like, okay, let's say I wake up tomorrow morning, I go out, and I see a $500 Instacart, but I got to drive 200 miles, I might take it. Not because it's amazing, but it's like, look, I'm going to do that, and that's all I need to do for the day, right? Like, I mean, it's a $500 day for doing one order, assuming I can fit it all in my car. Like, I don't know. Some of the theoreticals are hard to know, but, just the idea of like, you know what, just spend all day doing one job for one person. You might take you an hour or two to shop it, and might take you 6 hours to drive it, but it's like 8 hours, $500. I'm happy with that. So theoretically, but in general, 30 miles is about the most that I ever end up doing um, with that. So yeah, like you have to make sure that you're maximizing how these apps work for you. And so if you're going to take a bad order, you need to have the reason to take the bad order. So I might take a couple of bad Instacart orders this weekend because I need to complete 10 Instacarts to be platinum for the next 3 months. It's not just a 1 month thing on Instacart, it's 3 months. So to be platinum for July, August, September, which gets into all the back to school deliveries because it really starts to pick up around here, in end of July, beginning of August, because lots of people are shopping for groceries for back to school time and everything. Um, I will, if it's Sunday night and I need to take one more order on Instacart, it doesn't matter how good or bad it is. I'm just taking it to complete it, right? Because that's like a mission. And that mission will literally make me probably hundreds of dollars. And so I might take a bad order if I need to on Sunday for Instacart because I want to make sure I'm Platinum Dasher for the next 3 months. And the same thing can be true um, if you're dealing with, or sorry, to be Diamond Shopper on Instacart. If the same thing can be true if you're for wanting to be Platinum Dasher. If you want to be a Platinum Dasher, you know, you might have to take an occasional order now and then, but the trade-off is you get Dash Now anytime. Now, if Dash Now anytime isn't worth it, that's the only reason, in my opinion, of 2 months of doing Platinum, the only reason you should do Platinum Dasher is because you need Dash Now anytime. There is no financial benefit, everybody. Hey, Eli, thanks again for tuning in, hanging out with us. We're going to wrap things up here anyway, but have a good night. So yeah, enjoy your 6 hour drive tomorrow. Be safe out there. So I'll be out delivering. I'll be out driving all around. Oh man, I'm getting tired here too. I'm pretty beat. So just my personal opinion, your market may vary, but I'm not seeing anything from any gig tubers that have convinced me otherwise. I don't believe that anybody is getting on average better offers from DoorDash by being Platinum Dasher. I did finally get a large order tag finally the other night, and so that's been absolutely broken here. It took me 7 weeks to get an order on DoorDash with the large order tag since they rolled out, Platinum. So I'm a little bit hopeful going into this weekend that maybe I'll see a few more, but I'm I would need so much evidence of consistency, and I'm just hoping that maybe more and more dashers will stop being Platinum Dashers locally. I'm hoping that the rolling 100 is going to be hard for people to sustain and maintain. I mean, I know for me, it's like you miss a week, you miss a few days, it really hurts a little bit for keeping that 100 rolling average up. But anyway, that's what I've got. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions. Appreciate you guys all hanging out with me tonight. Um, you know, there's there are opportunities out there. So yeah, I rideshare Lisa. I don't understand. Like I see in these groups, like Platinum is so amazing. I'm making so much more. If you're making more on Platinum, you were just making really bad decisions before Platinum rolled out. So yes, so that's what. So I just saw one this week, and it didn't even say catering bag. It actually said like large order. It was different. It wasn't the teal catering bag required that I was used to getting before Platinum rolled out. It was in white, and it said something like large order. So I'm hoping that maybe they've kind of worked some things out of the system. The other question I've had, I'm sorry, my nose is so itchy tonight, guys. I'm sorry. I think it just means it's time to go to bed. Um, yeah, there is no way you should be making more money on Platinum and on the Tiers program. If you're making more money on the Tiers program, it was because you were accepting way too many offers before Tiers came out. That's I am firmly convinced of that. So I'm with you 100%. Now I'm still hopeful that some Platinum Dashers are going to get kind of fade out of the program, and that they really are going to reserve the best of the best orders, the catering orders and the large orders for Platinum Dashers. I'm just not convinced that it's happened yet. But I we've been talking on this channel for quite a few weeks that something seems broken within the DoorDash algorithm, and so maybe they're finally fixing it. They're going to get pushback because if there's no if the only true perk to Platinum Dasher is Dash Now anytime when you're a gig delivery app, And it's like, and I can already turn on Uber, Grubhub, and Instacart any other time. If that's the only perk, it's not worth it, right? The only way that it really makes sense is if there's at least a handful of orders that are above and beyond what the normal orders are. Hey, Two Evil, thanks for tuning in. We're just about wrapping up, but we're just kind of tuning in. We've been talking about basic tips for new food delivery drivers. Our area has been absolute crap as of late. Today is the first day I've actually done anything with DoorDash. Definitely need to multi-app. Yeah, no, and I couldn't believe it. I think it was last night. I did like 2.5 hours of delivery work and took an Instacart, an Uber Eats, and a Grubhub, and didn't. And I mean, and I was on earn per offer, not even earn by time. And they sent me a $9 for 8 Mile pizza one that I didn't take because I had just accepted like a $14 Uber Eats order, so I didn't take that. And then they sent me one other one that was no good, and then I switched over to earn by time for the last half an hour. They didn't send me anything. So, I mean, I chalk it up a little bit to it being a Wednesday, but it was good. Too Evil, man. At some point, I need to try Shipped, but I what I don't like about Shipped is like you have to reserve it like hours before, and it's like if I've got to reserve this, but then they're like, but you can't deliver it early unless I don't know. I probably need to just learn more about Shipped, but the whole way that's set up. Ugh. I'm lucky I made my money in catering just in time for the food apps to go downhill. Yeah. No, I mean, I still think it is definitely a great opportunity to make some side cash, but it is getting more and more difficult to get close to that $25 an hour. And I'm in a great market. I have great tippers. I have great customers. I mean, not everybody, but in general, I'm in a great market. I'm in a very high end market with lots of high end restaurants. And it's just but if they don't send you good offers, you just can't do it. So Too Evil, we'll have to do it. I'm not going to get into Ship tonight, but let's do that sometime. Let's you give me some advice and stuff on. Maybe we'll just do that next week. Maybe I'll do some research and try to do something. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't planned out next week's streams yet, but I definitely want to. There's got to be something that I'm missing because the way the system is set up feels absolutely unappealing to me compared to all the other apps. And that's not saying much because they're pretty low standard for them. So anyway, that being said, if you guys are going out delivering this weekend, be safe out there, make good decisions. Um, there are still opportunities out there, but you got to be picky and you got to make sure these apps are working for you, not you for them. Doing that. Just a quick little channel update. We've got, let's see, what do we have? We posted a YouTube video, so if you're interested in kind of starting to do some YouTube creation, talked about 5 tips for beginning YouTube creators. That went up last night. Too Evil, yeah, thank you so much. You don't really recommend. Okay, well, good, then I'm not missing that much. Thank you so much, Too Evil. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. So we had that. I put up a little short yesterday about Halloween decorations popping up in Costco. So if you haven't seen that, I've got a Sunday morning, I've got about a 10 to 12 minute video from the book of James in the Bible about overcoming hardship and what that kind of means in both the gig delivery and small business entrepreneurship world. So that's going to debut Sunday morning if you are kind of into the Bible side of things and wanting to grow your faith in light of doing those things. So we have that going, and I still have some ride-along old stuff I really need to get done, but that's probably not going to happen until like Monday or Tuesday of next week. But we'll hopefully have some old ride-alongs of my DoorDash acceptance rating climb to get to Platinum Dash in the first place. So like those videos are now like 6 weeks old, but it's just got behind, and that's just how it goes. That's the life of a YouTube creator sometime. So that's really about it. We're going to wrap things up. We're going to close off in prayer. I know not everybody who usually wants to pray is here tonight, but maybe they'll be watching on replay. So we're going to do that. But we just appreciate you so much. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for the opportunities that we have to make money through these different apps. And we just pray that you help us to make wise decisions and best decisions for us and for our family. But most of all, I pray that you help us to be premium servants for the orders that we take, that we do our absolute best for our customers and that you give to us. And so we just thank you for this. We pray for safety for everyone who's out delivering on the roads this weekend. Pray that you keep all of our cars from falling apart, and pray to just keep us safe in the midst of things. And we do pray, God, that you maybe would send us your favor with some good offers this weekend and help us to understand these apps even better. So in Jesus' name, amen. Thank you all for hanging out with us. So we're off now for the rest of the weekend. We'll be back Sunday night. So Sunday through Thursday night, 10 p.m. We do a hangout for about an hour every night. But thank you all. You guys are all awesome, beautiful people. Thank you for hanging out with me, and for everybody sharing tips. And it's good to sometimes know, like, hey, the same things I'm seeing other people. So I really appreciate it, Rideshare Lisa, because that's absolutely where I'm at. Dash and Womble, thank you again. Again, if you need a follow, you want to see someone who does some live ride-alongs, Womble is definitely your place to go. Thank you all. Hopefully I will see you all Sunday night.